Andrei Jay.
Hey, I'm Starr.
And welcome to another episode of Exploring the Video Synthesis Ecosphere, long delayed because all of my computers don't work properly. This might be the third time we tried to set this up.
Yeah.
I finally just realized that I have other ways to capture things other than fucking black magic bullshit cards, so just bypass that for the moment.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure, but I think maybe installing the latest Blackmagic drivers made my computer crash, both of them. Not 100% on that, but it might also be that I'm doing really dumb things in C programming that has memory leaks and shit. But you know, half of one, 6 dozen of the other. It all combines to make a nice messy operating system, and I should really be doing everything in Linux anyway. So here we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've got wave pool set up today, and you can see we've got just a tiny bit of delay. That isn't even from the wave pool. That's just from the capturing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what do you think we should talk about today?
So today we're going to be exploring additive and subtractive, the delay on the wave pool, and getting in and out of those features. I think when using it intentionally is super powerful, especially with wave pool.
Yeah, because I'm sure anyone, if you played with this before, you've probably gotten into these modes, but you don't know why you're there, when you're there, how you're doing, and what to use it with.
Exactly.
So yeah, we'll be a little bit more explicit about what's going on. So when I say additive and subtractive blending, I'm kind of lying. There's not actually additive and subtractive blending on here, but it's really close, and actually explaining what's going on is way more complicated. And if you want to understand what's going on, it's called linear interpolation. And when you linear interpolate two values and go out of bounds, a linear interpolation is just an averaging. I have this one, I have this something up here, something down here, and then to linear interpolate, we just grab something right in the middle. This is a function that comes in, it's like a pre-baked function in every programming language. So I'm using it in the wave pool here to mix things. So when we do this sort of fade in and out, this is linearly interpolating. And most mixers, I think most mixers do something like this when you're fading between two inputs.
Yeah.
It might not be strict linear interpolation. There's sometimes more additive or more different algorithms they use, but it's usually something really close to this. The flip side is that this is a really dumb algorithm. It doesn't really know what you're feeding into it. So if I give it negative values, then it starts to really freak out. And if I go over bounds, if I if we average something and then give it a coefficient over than 1, we get this weird kind of embossing thing that happens. And you might think that this is just sort of frozen and it's just gonna kind of do things on its own, but it's actually not. So I kind of want to dig into how you can use this for more sort of dynamic stuff.
Yeah.
So in order to kind of pick through that, we'll start off at a point. Just had to practice some things. I don't really know what I'm doing here either. I just seem like I do because I have confidence. But yeah, so we'll take Luma key up to 50%. And then we'll mix things in, negative all the way. Start to crank up the temporal filter a little bit, because temporal filter and mix actually kind of work in very similar ways. And just using temporal filter and mix together can do some pretty crazy stuff. Let's bring the zoom back in a little bit so we can see a bit more of what's going on. I'll grab this one and slow that down a bit. There we go. And then got this cranked all the way negative. There we go. And crank up the filter a little bit. So we can see, as we start to, if we play around with the key a little bit, we'll see what's happening different in the stuff that's keyed out and what's keyed in. So keying more stuff in gives that weird kind of spastic zebra pattern, chroma strobing. and if we turn up saturation a bit so we can see what's going on with the color, we can see we have drastically different color things happening where there's the invert mix and where there's the just luma keyed out. So we keep everything keyed in, then we just have this weird like strobe dancing zone. And if I slow it down a little bit by playing with the delay, we can kind of see what's going on every time. We got these little like curly patterns happening everywhere. And then we go all the way up. And then it's just like a little bit of the same patterns, but you can see they're starting to disintegrate as they go into just pure like standalone feedback stuff. And turn that back to like noon there, and then let's start to play with the mix in the positive direction. So we'll take mix right here and start to dial that all the way over. So we start to lose that like, you can see now that we've got it in the positive direction, it seems like we're completely keyed out and we're not doing anything. We're actually kind of like, we're sort of like, it's like you're standing behind a curtain and poking at things. So you're not like really like explicitly like affecting the feedback, but you're in the shadows and you're messing around with stuff back there. And the more we kind of like mess around with the temporal filter, we can do that positive or negative, we'll get some pretty crazy stuff. So you can see if I have nothing keyed out and we're just doing pure additive blending, it brings in this weird yellow mode.
Yeah. And then we're starting to come back a bit as well.
Yeah, so you can see our heads sort of bobbing around, and we're leaving like these like reaction diffusion, like neon trails. When we start to then play around with the crazy color things, we'll get a bunch of weird stuff that doesn't really show up anywhere else. Pretty nauseating, pretty fun.
Yeah.
We're getting some odd screen tearing here. I think that's the V4 doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have any questions about this mode at all?
And it's like...
Does this make sense? I don't think I explained this in a way that makes sense.
I think that what we should do is go into how we got there, because I can get here, but I couldn't explain how I got there. You know, like I naturally, it's like, oh, I'm just doing a bunch of stuff and now I'm here. You know? But to know that there's a method, I think taking us through the method would be super helpful, so people can do it intentionally or not.
So let me think about, first, I could just do the reset thing. Let me see if I can just work our way out of this, and let's try to get back to 0 without doing anything else. So let me just try dialing all these color things back to about like their default state. Of course, it's not going to be exact. Keep that filter at 0, and let's see if we can mix. So we've more or less mixed ourselves back in.
Yeah.
So let's say we're starting from default here. Well, you can see we got a little bit of trails happening, but you know, it's not any more than the usual trails I see every day. And we can just sort of like, so we luma key things out halfway. See what we got, a little bit of Z stuff. Let's just do straight X and Y. There we go. And then we want to sort of amplify the difference. So we'll turn up brightness and we'll turn up saturation. So that means that like the non-additive feedback will be like amplified. If I take this mix knob here and I start to turn it up, you see there's that point where it's just pure feedback. Might be losing some things, so let me get a little bit of that going on in there. But then as I crank it up all the way, there's a little bit of outline of Starr's face over there.
Yeah.
You can see. And if I pull out my flashlight and point it at the camera, we'll definitely see some effects. Thanks. So, as I point my camera at it, it's sort of, or I point my flashlight at it, it's kind of obliterating everything else that shows up. See that sort of like, so you can see a little bit of Starr's face outline. But as I change the hue, you can see it a lot more. So this allows you to do like really subtle stuff with like video, input video affecting things. And you can really see my, this is what I'm doing here. You can see that sort of like obliterating things over here. But as we kind of turn up the hue, you can find a sweet spot in there where it's not just like going nutso.
Yeah.
If I actually try to get these XY things centered a bit better, and we just wait a second, we can see it's actually making like an outline of like what's in my bedroom here. There's like my plant castle back there that's outlining a bit. I'm not very well lit, but maybe if I do this, it'll get my chin to pop out a bit more. Anything? A little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's like additive mode, and if I mix it all the way in, then we can see that's like a different texture, and if I mix it all the way out, we get back into like bananagrams, and it's like that weird like neon like yellow number 5 color.
Yeah.
And as I start to mess around with these hue things, then we get this one little weird sweet spot where there's like, you can see Star's eyes are like radiating the reaction diffusion like spirals. I slow it down, and then we start to mess around and add some of the temporal filter into it, and we get like a really slow growth pattern thing happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I can basically paint the different colors on it by pointing the flashlight at the camera like that. Does that make a bit more sense?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that it's easier to follow when you break it down. And if people, some people may have their own nanos or however, and can have their labels on it, so they can easily know which knob you're referring to when you're like, oh, we're gonna go to this this additive and this, and it's like, all right. Instead of taking a wild guess at which knob or slider that may be, it's a bit easier when I'm sure some folks may have a little bit of a breakdown of it on their own.
Probably, yeah. And then if we then go back and do this negative mode, we can start to like see a bit more of what's going on in there.
Yeah.
So that's negative mode with nothing keyed out, and let me start keying out about 50%. So you see there's that weird. We've got the above Star's head, there's like the radiating lines there, and then inside their face is just like neon blob zones. As we change the hue, we get way different like patterns happening inside and outside. This is sort of a way you can like compose sort of like you have multiple feedback lines in one machine. We then do negative within negative on the temporal filter here. Can get pretty like, yeah, here we're getting kind of nauseating again here. Yeah, so that's just a little starter for doing the additive, subtractive blend modes. Yeah, thanks for watching. We're just going to record another episode here, so we're not actually done, but I'm going to pretend like we're done.
Yeah. As always, let us know if there's any other things that you want us to cover with either wave pool, spectral mesh, artificial life, temporal vortex, auto wave.
Yeah, whatever those things are. Phosphorm.
Phosphorm. I didn't even list it. Sorry, phosphorm. Haunting me in my dreams tonight.
I did an AMA last night, and someone was like, "What's your favorite?" And I was like, "I think it's actually Phosphorm. Nobody likes it. It's kind of like the weirdest one." Like,
we should do a video on that one.
We should.
Yeah,
I'll have to spend like way more time setting it up though, because then we have to like rescan off of an oscilloscope and shit.
True. But
well, actually, we could do Phosphorm with the video I put into Wavepool. That would be a lot simpler.
Yeah. Let's do it.
But yeah, check out in about, I think like October, first Monday of October, I'll do another live AMA thing on YouTube, so stop by. Everyone just asked questions about like, what is a wave pool last night. I'm going to try to plant some seeds so people ask me more things about like telepathy and shit. And, like, can my pet read my mind?
Yeah.
Maybe some like weird math stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Definitely
I don't know, we do these things, like, we answer a lot of questions, like,
yeah.
I don't want to talk about wave pools, like, for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I feel that. The telepathy one is a good one. I definitely communicate with my snake through my dreams, so.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Like,
whenever
really,
he, like literally every week. Like there's a time where like I know I need to feed him because like I'll have like the craziest snake dream and I'll be like, "Yeah, I need to go home and feed my snake."
You know, that's crazy. There's a scientist, Rupert Sheldrake, who kind of like dropped out of the mainstream because they're like basically like, I think telepathy is real. They did like a huge study and they wrote a book called Dogs Who Know Their Owners When Their Owners Are Coming Home. Like they did like a really well done study that was just like tried to omit every single other thing that could be involved with it. And they're just like, I think dogs are telepathic because they just go to the window 10 minutes before their owners come home, and like when you like eliminate all other things, they just seem to be like somehow know that their owners are coming home.
Yeah, honestly, that makes me think of this video that I just saw last night of like these two dogs, and they were literally sitting on the couch, like chilling on the couch, watching TV of two other dogs on the TV, and then they heard their owner coming home. They hop off of the couch, turn the TV off, go grab the mop and a bowl, like as if they were like cleaning, and the owner opens the door, and then like they're like, "Hey," and like it's just like, and it was like if I didn't catch that, they like had like the doggy cam, and it was just like they were like the dogs were chilling on the couch, like they were like cuddling and everything. And heard like the door, like the keys, I don't know, and just hopped up, turned off the TV, ran and grabbed the Swiffer and a bowl, and like the owner comes in and is like, "Hey," and then they're just like,
that's amazing.
It was wild. So I would.
But yeah, it's good to know about snake telepathy because Rupert Sheldrake said they were like they tried to contact, so they like sent out like mass mailers to like cat owners and like dog owners via like like dog fancy and that shit. They sent out mass mailers to like reptile owners, and they like got millions of responses from like dog owners, cat owners, and like reptile owners. It's just like cricket sound. Like
no, I definitely communicate with my snake through my dreams for sure.
I mean, that's probably the most effective way to do it because otherwise, like, there's not a great Harry Potter.
Snakes don't have ears, all right? Like that's just the thing.
There's not like snake tongue, like
right. But he does know when I'm home. Like I can come home and I'll sit on my couch, and then all of a sudden he'll just like.
They can sense your warmth.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They can sense your electricity.
Exactly, exactly. They feel the vibes quite literally.
I feel like telepathy might have something to do with like electrochemical like fields and like just sort of like. Maybe like biomes. Like when you share a biome with an animal, you kind of like have like a weird telepathy because you're just like you have all these little bacteria that are like cousins living inside each other.
Yeah, and like they know what that is and what it smells like. It's weird. I don't know. You know, they know they. Snakes. I don't know.
Let us know what you want us to cover in a future episode.
Oh yeah, that's what we're doing.
Talk about more of this.
Yeah, that's what this video was about.
You bring that to my AMAs, I'll be way more likely to do more of them.
Yeah, for sure.
But all right, thanks a lot.
Peace.